Hello. Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two blended Scotch whiskeys, and they're both from family-owned companies. We have Bacardi Limited's Dewar's 12-year age. Was started by John Dewar and his sons. They got it going, but it has been bought out and it's owned by Bacardi International. But apparently, it's Bacardi does kind of like Miller Molson Coors does with Lion & Kugel's brewery. They pretty much let the Dewar's people run it as an independent company. You know what I'm saying? Like Bacardi's the umbrella. As long as the money keeps coming in, you run it, and we all enjoy the profits. Okay, so this big handle bottle is usually about $49. This day and age, $49 per, but it's now been renamed Triple Wood, and I will talk about it in a moment. Neither one of these have a handle on them tightly or they'll drop. 5 generations of whiskey making, founded 1887, and it says Glenfiddich. And there's a Glenfiddich crest, Grant and Son, the Glenfiddich. So I plan to get that one too. Let's see. Grants. Yeah, $24.49. So Daryl must yes. Good morning, Ronald. Good morning to you, Daryl. So $49 versus $24 or $25 per big bottle. Bonus size bottle. 1,750 milliliter bottle. Now, this is really a mismatch. To be fair, this is not the Grant's 12 year. So a real good taste challenge would be Grant's 12-year age versus Dewar's 12-year. But that's not what I have at this point. So you would expect that the Dewar's should easily win. Grant's Triple Wood. I see they've redone their website. They're showing Grant's Triple Wood blended Scotch whiskey. The third makes it Grant's. It's saying many whiskeys take flavor from just one cask, but we mature Grant's Triple Wood in 3 different types of wood. Virgin oak casks. Cask provides spicy robustness. So I got virgin oak, spicy robustness. American oak lends subtle vanilla smoothness, and bourbon refill, that's used bourbon barrels, offers brown sugar sweetness, resulting in a smoother, richer, mellower taste. Taste and notes. Complex, clean, with notes of ripe pear and summer fruits. Balances vanilla sweetness with malty and light floral fragrances, with a long and sweet with a subtle hint of the finish. How best to enjoy Grant's Triple Wood? With a cola or on the rocks? It tastes like kind of harsh cereal grain, but let's be fair. Like I said, let's be fair. Okay. Now the Grant's has metal cap with the built-in pour. So you got to watch it because this William Grant Limited, 5 generations of whiskey making. 5 generations of whiskey making. Well, we're losing our connection again. I don't know. The internet been giving trouble over here. It was down for about 6 hours yesterday. I think they were upgrading. Something going on around here. And it wasn't just me. It was at a local grocery store that's on the same system. They had no phone service, no internet for that same time period. Now, this has a metal cap cover, but it's actually a plastic cap, plastic screw cap. No cork. Oh, well. Yeah, D12, Dewar's 12. So I was saying, you got to watch it. It's going to just come out. Put that over there. So we're looking at a $24 difference. Let's say that one's 25 bucks. $24 difference. At least $23. So is the Dewar's 12-year going to really be $24 better? That's a big question. Sun just came up here in Michigan, says B Aviation. Well, it's coming around here. All right. Oh, I got it even, which is rare. The Grants on no age statement, has to be at least 3 years old, but it's probably not much older, is pale. And this one is deep gold by virtue of 12 years in the barrel and probably food coloring added. But anyway, a lot of times they'll add, you say, what food coloring? Well, caramel color. Would I prefer if it was uncolored? I'm not saying they're colored. I'm saying that's often the case. Yeah, I would prefer it, but a lot of people, they just get turned off by this really pale whiskey, and they'll be like saying, oh, whatever. And so they just put the caramel color in it. Ron, I watched Colonel Kurtz's monologue about morality yesterday. Quite profound. Judgment is the enemy. Yeah, poor Colonel Kurtz. Never saw a more broken down person. And remember what he said. What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin? They lie, and we must be merciful for those who lie, those nabobs. All right. But you know, he went mad. He lost his mind, you know. That was what the whole movie was about, I guess. Now, Coppola said, well, I don't know. It was just a movie I made. You know, it wasn't really supposed to give any kind of message. It was mainly about making a lot of money. But it was based on Heart of Darkness, that old Conrad novel, short story. And they adapted it to the Vietnam conflict. And then apparently something had really happened. It was in the newspapers in the late 60s where supposedly some commander was targeted by the U.S. Army. I'm talking about an American commander. For misbehaving or whatever, supposedly. And the order was to terminate his command with extreme prejudice. And, you know, so then they made the movie. Well, anyway. I don't really like movies, honestly, y'all. I rarely watch movies. There are some I like. Now, like Apocalypse Now was one of the great all-time movies. It has worthwhile, there's a worthiness to it, whereas most movies are immoral, disgusting, parasitical, trash, garbage, and filth. And that's been going on since the 1920s, is why they brought in the censorship code. Because even in the 20s, they were trying to use movie culture to undermine morality in the United States as sort of like a conspiratorial activity. Kurtz couldn't reconcile that in order to win a war, moral men had to commit immoral acts, right? And the whole point of the Vietnam War was there was no point to it. It was idiocy. It was part of this whole imperialism, Cold Warism, U.S. British Axis madnessism. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're seeing one of the, look at Afghanistan right now, showing the futility of the British American Axis, the plan of the British American Axis to rule the world a plan that was adopted in 1689 and has very obviously been followed, but not with a whole lot of success, I don't suppose. Maybe it's more successful than I believe. It's evil, well, there's no doubt about that, but I don't know. This one smells pretty grain oriented, like I was saying, a box of cereal. A deep dive on Apocalypse Now from your perspective would be great. I don't know. That might take like a 5-hour video. You know, I'm still trying to think about that movie after all these years, trying to figure it out. It would be a dive, all right. I might wind up like Colonel Kurtz, you know. And I'd be, you know, I'd be running around the neighborhood talking about zap them with your siren, man, zap them with your siren, something. But it's one of those movies that uses craziness to get to, I guess, make deeper allegorical points, kind of like Dr. Strangelove, you know, and or Failsafe, which was like the same movie made by two different companies at the same time, and it was a big lawsuit. One was a comedy approach, and one was a serious approach to the same topic. And if you ever watch the movie, the SCTV, remember SCTV did a parody of it, but they took both movies and put them together. The great SCTV, they did the remember that there was the Russian Soviet broadcasting system infiltrated SCTV's network, and they began to broadcast on their network. So they had to send a mission to space to stop it, but then it triggered a nuclear war. This is a much deeper aroma. And I believe that this is the 12-year. The cinematography, incredible, a truly beautiful film. Yeah, the cinematography was unbelievable. Off the chain, as the people like to say. All right, so on aroma, I think this is the 12-year, and I think that's the Grants, the Dewars and the Grant. But I'm not sure, so let me taste. But I'm pretty sure. But let's go with the taste. Cheers to your morning. All right. Well, I'm glad I taste. This one tastes like Sara Lee honey topped bread, and it's very sweet and it's sugary in a way. It's almost like sweet and honey. Sweet and honey. Curtis Skitza Champagne says, just imagine if you acquired another bottle of Old Crow but sealed, would you sell it or taste test it? I would taste test it because I wouldn't want to sell it. I'd rather drink it. I mean, I can get money by just working, you know, like people say, sell your comic books, you'll make a fortune. I don't believe that. I think comic books are only valuable in the minds of comic book shops that are trying to sell them. They don't have any real value because, yeah, go try to sell yours, see how much you get. And secondly, even if it was, I wouldn't sell them, even if it was worth a fortune. So I wouldn't sell them because then I wouldn't have them. People say, look at all the money you got. I'd say, yeah, but now look what I did. I got rid of the first appearance of Wolverine, and that was in near perfect condition. It was like almost a perfect copy, and I didn't pay much for it. And now I don't have it. So what did I accomplish? People say, but you got all this money. Yeah, but I can't, you know, but the money doesn't have the artwork. I mean, it has artwork on it, but you know what I mean? It doesn't have, and what I'm not, I got the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul. I got the, you know, all these great Batman comic books. Now, what about the last 21 years of comic books? Would I sell those? Well, I'd sell those. I'd burn them even and enjoy that. You understand? I would enjoy burning them in a fire and not even getting money. But the ones I have from the 1940s, I don't have many from the 40s, but I do have some up to the year 2000, really up to 1990. I think 1990 is the year when things really started to deteriorate in comic books very seriously. But yeah, what I'm gonna do, get rid of the first appearance of the Defenders and Marvel feature. The Defenders, great artwork back then and great story writing. I'm talking about 1971. So what, I could have money so I can go buy a meal somewhere. Oh, look, you bought a meal. Isn't it good? Oh, it's great. And then it's gone. Oh, well, enough of that. Um, okay, so this is not really the honey top sour leaf. This is more deep wood, oak. You say, well, the triple wood is triple oaked and all of this and this and that. That's right. And they brag about how wonderful it is, but it's still cheap. But I'm not saying that's a negative. You got to have a bottom, right? It's got to be that if you have a whiskey portfolio, it's got to start somewhere. And I started at the bottom, and I plan to climb the ladder. Now, I just noticed on Total Wine's website, Total Wine and More, they've got the 12-year age, and they got the 15-year age grants. But they're $50 and $76. You want to play, you got to pay. It's almost like a nougat, like you get in the Three Musketeers bar. A lot of oak here, a lot of oak. The graininess isn't too bad. It's not too much cereal grain, or which we would call grain spirits, alcohol grain spirits. Um, does the Dewar's 12-year age have a higher percentage of single malts instead of just 80-20, 80% grain whiskey filler and 20% single malt? Could it be maybe 70-30, 70% grain spirits and up to 30% single malt whiskeys blended in from like Aberfeldy and all of that? It could be. That's why it's a richer flavor. But I don't know. They're not going to tell you, so they're just not going to disclose that blend ratio. They just tell you it's fabulous, All right, all my local brewers have raised their prices by $1 to $2 a six pack. Inflation hits the beer community. Same thing here. And as far as my nose, my mustache itching. As far as inflation goes, we want to thank the Federal Reserve System and the United States government for this quickly becoming runaway inflation. And you say, well, why? You say it's an evil plot. It could be an evil plot, but it's probably more likely gross incompetence. We give the government too much credit. Talking about that guy who seems to have a dementia to some extent, and the other one, the fat guy, who I used to love listening to him talk. He was funny to listen to. I mean, I voted for him twice, but I listened to him talk, and he was interesting. But he was not a good budgeteer either. I mean, his idea of balancing the budget and spending and all taxes, it was very poor. It was very poor. I give him an F for that. D- at least. So he was very irresponsible with spending. And then this present fellow is much, much worse, you see. So now you say, well, some of the Federal Reserve banks, they're the conspiracy. They know what they're doing. They're making money off of these clowns. Well, that could be true. But people, I think, give the government too much credit that they're evil and smart. But the reality is they're evil and stupid and incompetent and goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be evil and just be dumb, you know, not smart. I should be the president. You say, well, instead of doing whiskey taste challenges at 5:30 a.m., why don't you be the president of the United States? You think you could do a better job? Well, certainly I could do a much better job. And I'll be the first to admit that. All right. I would be the taxpayer's friend. Who wouldn't want me for president? Anti-war, get rid of imperialism, get rid of foreign conflicts, disestablish, talk about disestablish the military industrial complex, promote free enterprise. People say, oh, you wouldn't last too long. You made Kennedy look like he was in there a long time. I don't know, maybe so, but it's better to do what's right and die for it than to do what's wrong so you can make money and have no morals like these characters. Credence warned us, I see a bad moon rising. Yeah. I would vote for you, says B Aviation. So let's do that. Instead of me, like some of these, some of these YouTube people, they always begging for money. They basically beg, like, I got a Patreon account. Give me money. I'm not giving you any money. I have never given a YouTube person a penny. All right. I'm not giving you any money. And secondly, if you want money, why don't you go get a job or get a better job? They got people trying to hire everybody left and right. I'm going to give you money so you can buy more beer so I can watch a review. This is what they'll say. Well, then I can buy more beer and liquor to do reviews and you can watch it. I like to watch your videos. I'm not that interested though. I'm not interested enough to where I would actually give you any money. It's a joke. So instead of doing something like that, maybe I should do something much better, like be the president of the United States. I think it would work out. Ron Uber Allis. I wouldn't want to be a king or an emperor. I mean, I would be if they offered the job. I mean, I would be the emperor, but I would be very benevolent. You know what I'm saying? Unless you cop the attitude. I hate financial YouTubers who preach about money and then make 95% of their income from their audience. Ha ha. Yeah, it's comical. All right. So I would like to be the president. I don't believe in term limits, by the way. I'm anti-term limits, but this is not as bad of a mismatch as I thought. I just thought the Gramps was going to be nasty and rough cut and like it always is. But today it's not. Funny thing. Remember what I said? If you take whiskey A and you review it on its own without any other influence as a solo review, usually it tastes pretty good. It's like, oh, this thing has a lot of interesting qualities, blah, blah, blah. Then you put it into taste challenges. Very often, that's when things start to break down because the other whiskey will expose badness that you didn't perceive at the first session. But then if you do it against whiskey C, so you went against A against B, oh, it's different. I didn't notice it. Then you go against C, oh, and then D, and then E, and then F. Every time seems like it's different. It's not different. It's the same whiskey or bourbon or brandy. Oh, bourbon is a type of whiskey, or brandy, or rum, or mezcal, or tequila, etc. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny how that works. Like Karen said, it's funny. About the helicopter. I can just see Dennis Hopper talking about your first term. Sometimes he goes too far. He's the first to admit it, but he's a great man. Right, Dennis Hopper. He could be my little court jester. Like in Apocalypse Now, Dennis Hopper was like the jester of the king being Colonel Kurtz. So he was always, Dennis Hopper would say, the man is clear in his mind, but his soul is mad. He hates all this. He hates it, but the man's, he reads poetry out loud, all right, in a voice. He likes you because you're still alive. He's got plans for you, and all of that. I have watched the movie a few times. Can't go out in space. You can't travel out in space with fractions. All right, anyway, what are you going to do? Land on? All right, so very nice. I think that's the Grants. Oh, well, Grants, you surprised me today. Not Ulysses S. Grant. Well, if it was Ulysses S. Grant Scotch, it would go through different states, burning everybody's houses down and stealing all their property and doing very bad things to all the women, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's not Ulysses S. Grant's, it's William Grant's. Oh, what a guy. And then it would later on become a very grossly incompetent president who launched a extermination war against American Indians. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Why nitpick? Why people say you're too picky? These guys were great men. Hell, they're on the money. They're on the money, and they even have a tomb for him and everything. It's true. I nitpick too much. But other people, it's okay to nitpick. Well, you know, I don't know what's politically correct. Y'all got to make a list for me. Here's a list of all the people that it's okay to criticize, and here's all the people that it's not okay to criticize. And you need to get it straight. Doggone it. I know. I need more practice. I need more practice. All right. What would Kurtz have thought of Grant? He probably didn't study Grant closely enough, you see? Because, you know, Colonel Kurtz, if you read the, if you pay attention to the movie carefully, he was sort of sheltered. He was raised in a upper middle class family along the Ohio River, and his family was a military family, and he went to West Point and everything. He probably went to some wonderful, maybe Lutheran school, you know, prep school, and he was taught all the right establishment history about all the right establishment heroes and everything. So it's like Captain Willard said, his record was perfect. He said, but maybe too perfect. See, he put that, but maybe too perfect, you see. So his perspective was only that of someone who was raised in the military industrial complex, New York City banking / Washington, D.C. imperialism viewpoint. See, so you only have that perspective. And then when you're but then once he was on the ground, one of the boots on the ground, then he's starting to have what we call in the world of psychology, he starts to have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when the things in your mind are in conflict with the things of reality. What the reality that you're seeing is in conflict with the ideas and the ideologies in your brain, in your mind. So then we call it cognitive dissonance, like a storm, a brainstorm. But his ability to deal with it was poor, so he went crazy, you see. He had no training in that. You know what I'm saying? His training was only like straight establishment military. You know what I'm saying? All right. Long story short, short story long. I think this is the 12-year age. It is a more deep, developed, and robust, and bolder, and nicer flavor ultimately. But very shockingly, the Grants has been pulled up by the Dewar's 12. In other words, in other taste challenges, the Grants was shabby, depressing, dreary, and thoroughly or almost thoroughly unpleasant. But now it's been pulled up. And that's strange, because usually when you mix a superior good with an inferior good and you make a mix, it pulls down the quality. You see, it hurts the quality of the overall quality. But in this case, it's inexplicably been pulled upwards. So I think this is the Grants, and is the Dewar's worth $24 more for a handle bottle? That's questionable. In this case right now, that's very questionable. I don't think I'd pay it, but I didn't have to, because y'all know I paid $14.99 for my big bottle, which is an amazing feat of no talent on my part. I just walked in the store and there I was in the discount buggy, and I couldn't believe it. Still don't believe it, really, but it happened. It's not a dream, I don't think. All right. Yep, that's the Grants. So I got it right on aroma only, but much more difficult than I had first expected, and that's just the way it goes. And that's the exciting part about the taste challenges. Now tomorrow, we're going to go with another Grants product, William Grant's Very fascinating product, the Clan McGregor, which is shockingly good considering the price. Shockingly good considering the price point. In the final analysis, is Kurtz insane, or is he just accepting of the duality of man necessary for moral men to commit immoral acts? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. He's pretty insane, but maybe he just decided to adopt the ideology of the military-industrial complex, but clearly he didn't really decide to adopt that. All right, thanks for watching this video production.